I tried to call my mom. She's in a nursing home in California. I couldn't get through. It's very frustrating. And I felt very sad because my mom is there in California and I'm here in New York. And I couldn't be with her today. But I reminded myself I can be with her in another way. Many years ago, I found a way to connect with people even though they're 3,000 miles away. So I got quiet, I meditated, I connected with my mom. And I meditate by beginning with a Hopi message, which really centers me, reminds me that I just need to let go. Because I know that my hell is whenever I want something to be something other than what it is. This morning, I wanted to be able to be in California, but I'm in New York. So I reminded myself that there is a river flowing very fast. No, the river has its destination. We must let go of the shore. I want to reach out to my mom to let her know I'm there for her. I remember when I was 7 years old, Mama asked me, "So what do you want to be when you grow up?" I said, "Just like you, I want to sing and be a mom." And I kept that vision. I wanted to be just like Mama in every way. So as I was entering college, I was pursuing my operatic career and I was accepted into the San Francisco Opera's talent bank. And I was in my junior year of college and something happened. I had to go to Mama to tell her something she didn't want to hear. I didn't want to know it and I didn't know what to do. I was pregnant. Not good timing for someone who wants to have an operatic career and not quite finished with college. But Mama, being Mama, said, "Honey, we'll handle this together. If you don't want to marry Sheldon, you don't have to. If you want to marry Sheldon, we'll help you get the wedding ready." I decided not to, and I had my baby anyway. And my Mama stood by me, as the rest of the family did, as I brought home my baby daughter, and we enjoyed her immensely. When my daughter was 8 months old, I took her to a babysitter, as I usually did, and went to work. I got a call from the sitter. "Sheila, you better come get Deidre. She's having trouble breathing." I rushed to get my baby, took her to the doctor. Pat came out to pick her up and make things all better. I said, "Go home, put your feet up, have a cup of coffee. I'll bring her home a little later." Later that afternoon, the doorbell rang, and it was Dr. Pat, but he wasn't holding my daughter. I knew. I didn't want to hear the words. "I'm sorry, honey, we did everything we could. She's gone." This is every mother's worst nightmare. This is truly hell. I didn't want this to be what it was. I wanted it to be something else. At that moment, I realized there are no guarantees. But also at that moment, I realized everything is on loan. I realized that the only certainty in life is uncertainty. My Mama, my stepfather, my brother, my entire extended family, and I mourned the loss of my sweet baby daughter. My mom and a friend gathered some money together after a few months and handed me an envelope with cash, saying, "Honey, I want you to go to New York and sing your heart out. Go, live your dream." And so I did. I went with a dream of having an operatic career. It wasn't happening the way I wanted, the way I planned. It was a bumpy road, one rejection after another. But I also had a longing to have babies, to have my children. I wanted to be a mama, just like my mama. So I found my husband, or I should say he found me. And we decided to start a big family. I wanted to have a big house and lots of children. And we started a baby fund. And shortly before we were to be married, my husband's oldest son from his first marriage went out for a date. And he never came home. Again, hell, wanting something to be something other than what it was. We were in pain and suffering for years with that loss. The impact on all of us was huge. So my having my own babies wasn't happening. But I wanted to have my singing career. I wanted to have my babies. So I proceeded. How am I going to do that? How am I going to use my nurturing self? How am I going to use all of me? Time was marching on. I was getting on in years. It was tick-tock, tick-tock. So I went to graduate school, and I decided to get my master's in social work, a way that I could be of service, using my nurturing self, maybe being a mom in some other way. I didn't know. I put singing on hold, and I went into a deep depression. And my mama called me one day and she said, "Honey, I have a feeling things just aren't right. What's going on with you? Tell me, what are you wearing right now?" My mom knew me very well. I was really in a deep pit of depression. And it was noon and I was wearing my granny gown. She said, "Honey, get into the shower, make your bed, get dressed, smile at your husband, give him a hug, and go out for a walk." My mom was always there for me. So I did, and she added, "And find a way to sing." What's with this? It's like you chopped off your left arm. You're a singer. Go join a chorus. Do something. Don't forget you're a singer. So I did. I joined the Collegiate Choral Society in New York City, and they were singing great music. They were singing Brahms, they were singing Beethoven, they were singing Verdi, and just being in that sea of sound lifted me up. So I realized I gotta be in a world of music, and I gotta be a mom in some way. I don't know how to do this. And an opportunity to be a cantor in a synagogue came to me. So I auditioned. I thought, oh, this is a great opportunity. I auditioned, and I was rejected. But I had learned by then not to take no for an answer. I'd also learned by then to use a lot of chutzpah. So I wrote a letter to the president, Susan, saying, "I think you made a mistake in the choice you made, and when you've discovered you have, please call me. I'll be waiting." In the meantime, I proceeded to serve another congregation as cantor, getting my feet wet in that arena, and I was working on performing in an opera. My dream was coming true in that as well. So it was opening night of Wagner's The Flying Dutchman, and the curtain went up. I sang like a diva. I was having a wonderful time, and then when the curtain came down, something happened. The bottom fell out. The bottom of my operatic career at that time, the bottom of my physical health at that time, and the bottom of my dreams to ever have babies. There was blood everywhere. It was a mess. They couldn't stop the bleeding. I have cancer? I can't have my babies? I was convinced for a certainty that all my dreams were over. I didn't know what to do about singing, but my God, I couldn't have my babies? All that opportunity gone with a hysterectomy? Until later. I got home from the hospital having my hysterectomy, and I received the phone call that would change my life forever. "Hello, Sheila. This is Susan from the temple. Remember me? So glad you wrote that letter. Turns out we did make a mistake, and we want you back for another audition." I got the job. A cantor for a large congregation. A big house with lots of children. Singing gorgeous music. Teaching children. My every dream. All in one job. Wow. So for many years, I was in the middle of my element. I was Mother Earth. I was in the middle of teaching and developing curricula and having wonderful time training orchestras and klezmer bands and singing in concerts and being in my glory. And then, in the middle of my career, I had a feeling that I needed to somehow move on. I didn't want to follow that feeling, but there was something nudging me. And alongside that, my husband was getting very sick. And inside of that illness, and inside of some political changes going on within the congregation itself, I had a feeling I need to move out of this arena. I need to find some answers to questions I've got. I need to spend more time with my husband before it's too late. And so I retired from that congregation, having no idea where I was going, what I was going to do, and I began to study holistic medicine, energy healing, wellness modalities of all kinds, so that I could understand more about the mind-body connection. I wanted to start to connect the dots for myself and others in additional ways from the ones I had been doing. And so as soon as I retired from my wonderful congregation family, I got a phone call from the congregation in Newburgh, New York, where I now live. Cantor Pro, we heard that you might be available to help us for the high holidays. We don't have a cantor. We just hired our rabbi, but we don't have a cantor. Can you possibly help us? Well, this was a part-time opportunity. I felt I could handle that with the other things I wanted to do. So I came to Newburgh to help out. I stayed for a while. I became principal of the school, and I stayed just long enough to finish some training and coaching, to take a lot of courses at Omega Institute of Holistic Studies. And then they decided to hire a student. I wasn't ready to let go. You know that Hopi message? Jump into the river, we must let go of the shore. Well, I was holding on to the shore, convinced that I wasn't ready to leave yet, and the congregation had other plans. And so I am now celebrating my 8th year in my office in Newburgh, where I'm very happy being who I am, doing what I'm doing as life coach, author, speaker, trainer, Mother Earth, guide, all of the things I've always wanted to be and to become. And so I have a message for you, and that is, life is not about time. It's about magic. There are no guarantees. Everything is on loan. And the only certainty is uncertainty. Jump into the river. Let go of the shore.